Welcome in, episode 61. Ramie and Drew live on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. You can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. Like, rate, review, tell a friend, do all the things while you're there. I am Ramie Mackloff. That is Drew Flaggy. We are just a couple Milwaukee comedians. We talk about sports and whatever else might come to mind. And Drew, it's been a minute, and I've said that before, but it has really been a minute since not just we've done a podcast, since we've even talked or seen each other socially. It's been a while. How have you been?
I like I told you, I did the roller coaster of the dark corners of the internet, looking at just basketball trades. And since we've talked, people have wanted John Horst fired, wanted an extension, thought he made the worst draft picks, actually thinks he's the architect of the future. We went from hating Dame and Giannis not being enough to an article coming out where Chris Middleton, Damian Lillard, and Giannis are the best pure three scoring tandem trio, whatever, in the league. And now people are all on board for next season already. So we've come full circle.
You can catch me up on a lot of that because I knew a lot of that happened, but I was mostly unplugged for about 6 days. I was out in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, a place called Canfield with my girlfriend and 20 Macloffs.
Wow.
20 Macloffs, Drew, in one house.
Wow.
You know one Macloff. Imagine 21 of me.
20,
it was
21 of exactly you?
No, we're not
Okay.
all like me, but it was something. We were there to celebrate my parents' 50th anniversary, and some of my family was coming from Montreal, and it was the closest, large Airbnb that could accommodate 22 fucking people.
Why didn't you just go camping?
No, we don't fuck with camping, dude. Do you see the color? I mean, I'm not black, but I am brown. We don't do camping, Drew. We don't do white people stuff like camping. We're not that Americanized yet.
All right.
Although there is a portion of my family that's more white than the rest of us. That's my cousin married a white dude, and they have kids and grandkids, all of whom were there. So it was something. But I also, on the way out there, we stopped at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then after the gathering, we went and saw a game because we were an hour away from Pittsburgh. Went and saw a baseball game at PNC Park. So that was
it
cool
hard to get tickets?
No, but that is an amazing ballpark, dude. It's a shame the product they put on the field because that is I've been to. This makes it, I think, 9 ballparks, which still isn't many. I need to get to a lot more. But this is right up there with the nicest ones, including San Francisco and San Diego, which were both amazing, and I got to see while I was out west. It was right up there with just about any ballpark I've been to.
Well, they have Paul Skeens. Did you get to see Paul Skeens?
I didn't. He pitched the 2 days before we went, so I was hoping we would, but also would have made. That's like the one time where it actually would be hard to get tickets.
We have to face Paul Skeens, I think, the third game of the series against Pittsburgh.
Oof.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. The Brewers got 2 All-Stars. You missed that.
No, I did see that. And congratulations to them. I did a lot of cramming and catching up. I do have to admit that, filling in for Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on Friday on 12:50 a.m. The Fan on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Catch that every weekday from 2 to 5 p.m. or on your Odyssey app, wherever you may be at whatever time you may be. But I did fill in for Sparky, so I did when I got back into town do a little cramming to do a little prep and get ready for the show.
Oh, that was you on the radio?
Yes, that was me on the radio from 2 to 5 on Friday, and I plugged the pod a lot. And I talked about how you tread into the dark corners of the Milwaukee Bucks internet so that I don't have to. And from what I understand, it was active. It was active in the dark corners while I was going through.
Oh yeah.
So fill me in. Do what you do, and fill me in on what was going on.
Well, okay. There's a couple articles that came out so far like this week, where there's one about Chris Middleton having an incredible basketball story where, you know, he went from being a second round pick to getting traded as a throw-in player to the Bucks and becoming like a 3-time All-Star, and had injuries not derailed him, he would have an even more incredible like career. And then like how like last year his mid-range shooting was 57% from the floor, including in the playoffs, and like how like what a great player he actually is, and he's so underrated and everything. And it was like, oh, Bucks fans are like, yeah, Chris Middleton's not bad. And we're like, we've been saying this. Like people like it took a goofy article.
We've actually been telling people Chris Middleton is good. Like we've been telling people that specifically and explicitly that Chris Middleton is good.
Yeah. So there was that one. There was the whole thing of like the Damon Giannis experiment has failed. They ran that article back again, and then like there was another counter article that came out. I think these are all clickbait and AI and shit. But then there was another one that came back and be like, actually, with Dame, Giannis, and Chris, they're like the most efficient scoring trio. And it's like people were like, yeah, we're gonna be in good shape. But those are the same people I was cross referencing to everyone saying, well, you know, John Horst mortgaged our entire future. Our future is fucked as soon as this is over. And then there was like the whole things where these people were like, actually, the 2 guys that he just drafted are like picks for the future, where we don't need.
They're both 19. I think they're both 19 years old.
Yeah, but also like this was a draft not full of impact players. Like nobody getting an impact.
But it's funny because either way, and again, I don't go in those dark corners, but yeah, callers into sports talk radio stations sometimes aren't too different from those dark corners. And no matter what he like, let's say he got some guys in the draft who, like the scouts said, were NBA ready. You know, not stars by any means, but like guys who could come in and contribute off the back end of an NBA bench that were like 22, 23. You know, they went on like a Mormon missionary or something. Like people would be like, oh, why isn't he drafting for the future? And if he drafts 2 19 or 20-year-olds, I saw people going, these guys aren't going to help us this year. Like no matter what John Horst did in that draft. And the bottom line is, like, in reality, like these guys probably won't matter in the big picture of the Milwaukee Bucks in the near or distant future.
Well, I would say in the distant future they probably will matter, but
maybe
I mean, they're not gonna,
on some level, but not in any major way.
Like they just they just flat out signed Tyler Smith, the guy we got in the second round. They just outright signed him. So it's like they're committing to this being like a group of guys that they're going to move forward with in a few years when they have to, you know, eventually get rid of some pieces or something. But like, as like people were like, oh yeah, like we don't, they mortgage the future. And then they, I think, made some pretty smart picks based on like, well, we're still trying to win now, and you're not going to give a rookie 38 minutes a night with this poor group of guys.
Yeah.
And I really like the signing of Taurean Prince, and I really like DeLon Wright as signings. Like those were both really good signings. So it's like there, it's like on the buyout market, or not buyout, but like on like free agency with league minimum guys, like, yeah, that's what you're going to get. Like, did you see that nobody took a flyer on Malik Beasley until
I did see that. He got what, 1 year, $6 million with who was it that he signed with?
Detroit.
Yeah, that's right.
So it's like right there, it's like that's what the market was like. I don't know like how much Beasley upped his stock last year. I would have thought making like what did he make, like 127 3-pointers or something like that? Like it was that what it was?
I don't know exactly, but he made a lot of.
He set the franchise record for like threes made in a single season, or he tied it with like Ray Allen or something. But like, doesn't matter. Like that's pretty cool. Like I mean, he did something. He took a 1-year vet minimum to try to bet on himself. But I guess none of the teams really looked at him and said, we need your services for more than 1 year. Because he was looking with a 4-year deal.
I talked with Eric Name from The Athletic when I was filling in for Sparky on Friday. And he was great, as always. You can go back and check it out on the Odyssey app if you are so inclined. But 3 like major takeaways that I took away from that conversation, because Eric Name always, he has a way in both the way he writes and if you ever get a chance to talk to him, to kind of put things in perspective, you know what I mean? And make you go, oh, yeah, that's why they did what they did. first of all, as far as the salary cap goes, there weren't any moves to be made with where the Bucks are. There weren't any big splash. They weren't signing any big splash free agents. That simply was not going to happen. The only way they were going to make a move, and this was the second point, was if you traded a Brook Lopez. And I thought it was a really simple but really smart way of putting it. He said if you wanted to trade Brook Lopez, you were going to have to get somebody who makes less than him and makes at least as much, if not more of an impact than he does for it to make you better. And there aren't a lot of teams looking to do that. And the third thing that he said was the two guys that you just mentioned, DeLon Wright and Taurean Prince, they're not sexy, splashy moves, and they're maybe not even as splashy as bringing back a Malik Beasley. I think people would have been more excited about bringing back a Malik Beasley in a lot of cases than signing DeLon Wright or signing Taurean Prince. But they brought in Beasley when they thought they had Drew Holiday. So they were like, okay, when we want to go small, we can play Beasley next to Drew and have somebody who can score while Drew locks down their best scorer. Once you made the trade for Lillard, it became a little bit redundant. Wright and Prince are going to play better defense than the guys, and the guy who he said Prince is mostly replacing is Jake Crowder from a positional and roster standpoint. They're going to give you more defense than both of those guys did, and Prince and Wright can both hit three-pointers. So while not the sexiest moves and the roster doesn't look a whole lot better just on a pure talent level, it's better fits and a more complete and well-rounded roster at this point than it was when the season ended.
Yeah, I mean, well, we talked about that. I don't know how many times throughout the year, just whether it was when we were struggling and it was me coping about Damian Lillard or whatever it was. But like throughout the year, we had to keep saying that this team was constructed around the assumption, and that was even going back to the Adrian Griffin hiring, that your defensive players were Grayson Allen and Drew Holiday. But when the opportunity popped up to get Damian Lillard, you had to take it.
Yeah.
So and then it just became, oh shit, now we got to scramble to get pieces in here and there. And that's where like Pat Bev came in, who we have an open roster spot. I'm still not opposed to bringing Pat Bev back. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know what he thinks he's going to get out there. I know he said on his podcast, he thought he made a case for himself to make a little bit more money. But also that temper tantrum, I think, shot that right in the foot.
Yeah, I think that canceled that out. If anything, I think he brought his price tag right back to where it was.
Which come back. I mean, I'm cool with the temper tantrum. I'm good with it. Sure. Come back.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. Yeah, I know what you get with the bet. I'm aware of it. I'm good with it in most cases. Throwing the ball in the stands, that was a bit fun.
Speaking of temper tantrums, I don't even think we talked about this. How excited I am for the Lakers season. Oh my God. Listen, the Lakers are a lot like Star Wars. I'm gonna watch to laugh at it. Like this is crazy. Like I know this is gonna be bad. Like imagine Ramie, imagine if you had a kid. All right.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then you hired me, your podcast co-host, to coach and develop your kid into playing basketball. And you had
You're the first person I'd hire to do that. You're the first guy I'd hire to do that.
If I fuck your kid's career up at playing, if I fucked his shot up, if I did something bad,
yeah,
the podcast is over and I'm getting fired. Like JJ Redick having to coach that team is a disaster. And then I even liked like the coaching bullshit artist thing that he had to start day one because I'm just like, I'm waiting for you to not take accountability because of what you said about Doc. I'm waiting for, well, why didn't Bronny get to play? Why didn't this happen? And because JJ Redick flat out said Bronny got to the league on how hard he works in merit. And I was like, that is an excellent bullshit answer. Like,
but by the way, the podcast is over. Not this one. This one is still going strong after 61 episodes. Follow, like, rate, review on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and tell a friend, please, while you're at it. Tweet about it. Post about it on Facebook, TikTok, wherever it is that you do your social medias. But yeah, he said they're going to do like one more to kind of wrap things up at some point between now and the start of the season. But yeah, the LeBron and JJ podcast will be no more.
I want those two to actually really get into the WNBA's Rookie of the Year conversation, and then have JJ have to talk so heavily about prospects for like Rookie of the Year and what it takes, and then have him have to go coach Bronny. That's gonna be so funny. Like, it's like why my son Rookie of the Year.
I said this a little bit on the show on Friday when I filled in for Spark Dog on Wisconsin Sports Daily on 12:50 AM The Fan. But my thoughts on the whole Bronny thing, first of all, as far as nepotism goes, I'm not the first person to say this. Like, I don't like it, but it's everywhere, and I'm not any more upset about it when it's LeBron James' son than I am anybody else. Mike Dunleavy is the GM of the Golden State Warriors. He rode nepotism all the way to that. All right, he got in the league because of who his dad was. And he made connections throughout his time in the league, and now he's the GM of the Golden State Warriors. But beyond, I'm sorry, what?
Remember when Giannis tackled him in the playoffs?
I do. Speaking of nepotism, Thanasis. Need I say more? So the nepotism part of it, I have no problem with, really. And I really have no problem with it because we're talking about the 55th pick in the draft. He took an opportunity away from somebody who probably wasn't going to last very long.
It took an opportunity away from me. I told you my stats the other day of how I shot. You just cut out.
Hold on a second.
You just cut out. I missed that entire. Oh, no. Oh, no. Do. If they can still hear me, I have to do jury duty tomorrow, and that's not.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh,
I just talking to all.
I hear you. I hear you, but it's not coming through my headphones. It's coming through my computer, which is weird, and it's causing echo. Oh no, what is happening?
I don't know, but like I said, I have to do jury duty tomorrow. So start putting in the comments right now if you think I should vote guilty or. I don't want to be there. It's one of the few things that go to my actual job than do.
I've never been selected for jury duty. Well, I've been selected to go and be part of the selection process because I don't know how it works. I don't know if this is how it is every time, but I went there and there was like 50 people, right? And then they were going to whittle it down to the 12 jurors. And so I went the first day. And they asked a bunch of questions. I came back the second day, and they settled out of court, so they let everybody leave. So I've never actually been on a jury. That's the closest I've ever gotten the one time that I was called to be on jury duty.
I had to sit in the room where they were playing fucking whatever, like Rosie O'Donnell or whatever the fuck, or not. They were playing whatever the fuck, or Roseanne. They're Roseanne. They were playing that show all morning long, and there were all the blue hairs. There were some of the people that went because they were just so excited to just be a part of like civic duty. And then there were people like me that I was like, I could be at my job right now, making an actual difference. And then they herd you up. You got to like wait for your number, like it's the fucking DMV. And then they send you into a courtroom with like 30 other assholes. And then you sit there and think about every excuse you can make and be like, all right, like, am I going to tell people I'm racist? Am I going to tell people, like, how do I get out of this right now? And they ask you questions. And, like, there was somebody that I actually knew who was, like, in, like, the jury selection. And he got to go, and I had to stay because I had a better answer.
Oh, that sucks. But yeah, is there, like, what if hold on, let me ask you this. We don't have to keep the podcast going very much longer because I know you need your sleep. You have to get up very early in the morning and go decide on somebody's fate in the future. What if it's a juicy case? You know what I mean? Like you're really into crime trials. Like, what was that trial that we were sitting at a bar and you were telling me about it for like an hour? Like, you were just going, was it the Rittenhouse? House? Which one?
That's different. Okay. That's not a juicy case. That was like the number one thing going on in America. And I was able to listen to it while I was at work. And I was listening to it on Nick Rakita's stream. And that dude turned into be like that whole Rittenhouse thing turned him into a cocaine addict. Like Rittenhouse, or not, but Nick Rakita, he's like a coke addict now. Like his like LawTube is like, get some help, dude. He's gotten arrested twice in the past month. And that dude, like, doing like cocaine parties, he looks absolutely horrible. He nods off on stream. He's constantly whiskey drunk. He shakes constantly. And then, like, his wife and him were at swinger parties, and they're neglecting their kids. That's what the Rittenhouse trial did to somebody who was invested in it.
By the way, as I often have to do, real quick, if you'll allow me, I don't know if any of what Drew just said is true. And the Ramie and Drew show is intended for entertainment purposes only. It's not intended for news. So I'll just leave that right there. Go ahead.
No, Nick Rakita, he was a lawyer from Minnesota, so like he was real close to like, you know, this whole thing in Wisconsin being like on the border and everything. And like, dude, like Rakita Law, his channel like blew up because he had like a whole panel of a bunch of people that were like all like they were live streaming the entire thing. He had guys who were like experts on like gun law, guys who were like experts on like border law, like guys who were in like self-defense law, like he had a whole panel of like actual lawyers that deal with this shit all day long. And all he did was just break down what was being said and stuff. And it was fascinating. And I got to listen to that while I was at work. And he also got to do, he did the same thing for the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial. That was cool. Like,
so I return to my original question, which is, what if you could get on a juicy trial? I don't know what this one is, but what if you could get? My dad says, and my dad sometimes will stretch a story. Let's just put it that way. My dad says because he lives in Kenosha. My folks live in Kenosha. He says he did almost end up on the Rittenhouse jury. I don't know if he's telling the truth or not, but he's told me that he almost ended up on the Rittenhouse jury. Is there a case that you would like to get on?
No, honestly, because I've already done duty before. Like I had to do it like 4 or 5 years ago. And the case was substantial battery. Like it was a dude broke into his ex-girlfriend's house while he was supposed to work and beat the shit out of her. And like we had to like see pictures of just a completely beat the hell woman, and that was like not cool. And then they're like, "Oh, go to lunch after
that's not fun or entertaining at all."
Yeah, go to our shitty cafeteria in the courthouse and go get a bacon cheeseburger after you just saw of a fucking pictures of like a woman's head split open. Like that wasn't awesome. Like it was not fun. There was a woman who was crying that was in the jury with deliberations because she didn't want to send somebody to jail because they'd become another statistic.
I didn't ask for details of the worst possible jury you could end up. I asked if you would like to end up on a cool, interesting case.
You would think like a breaking and entering assault thing would be like kind of like, oh, that's interesting. No, it was horrible. It sucked.
Not when it involves like an assault on a woman. No,
if this was like a high profile, like did Shohei Ohtani actually?
I guess if you were on the Rittenhouse trial, there'd probably be some pretty gory and ugly details on that.
Yeah, but also fuck that. Like I don't want to be one of the people that had to walk in and out of the courthouse every day for what was that, like 18 days, and like you got to miss 18 days of work. Fuck, if I miss a weekend, my job is fucked.
My dad's retired though. He would have been fine on the Rittenhouse trial. They could have kept him for a year.
But then it's like, what? Like, you rule in a certain way, and you gotta look at Twitter and have people being like, well, we're gonna come for all of these people now. It's like, great.
My dad doesn't look at fucking Twitter. My dad doesn't look at any social media. Well, he's the perfect guy for the trial, honestly. They fucked up not selecting him. He wouldn't be swayed by public opinion at all.
I'm gonna be 100% honest. Like, if there was like a way, like there's like a $500 fine if you like don't show up to this shit, and it's like, if there was a way to actually like just be like, I will send you guys $100 to just take it out of my fucking taxes every year, because you're already taking enough. Take $100 so I don't have to come to your fucking dog and pony show. How about that? I want to keep.
I would back that idea, and you're about to. It's about to get woke for a second here. I would back that idea, but that would you're supposed to be judged by a jury of your peers, and that would leave nothing but people who couldn't afford to not be on jury duty. Those are the only people who would end up on jury duties, people who couldn't afford it. And those are the people who need to be at work the most. They're the people who can't afford to be on jury duty the most.
Am I a jury of anyone's peer when I'm this fucking annoyed of having to go? My girlfriend just because she's watching the live.
I'm all around. I don't know anybody like you, so I don't know that you are anybody's peer, and you take that however you want to be.
My girlfriend just texted me because I saw it drop down. I see what you fucking said, Madeline. She said, "Stop. Jury duty is a privilege," and that is fucking coming from a woman who has never had to serve on a fucking jury before.
Your girlfriend is very socially active.
She is.
Very social.
She's the perfect person. She's the perfect person to do this right now.
Yeah.
I wish I could, dude. I wish it was like Game of Thrones, where I'm like, she's my champion. Go fight for me. Go judge somebody for me. I sign off whatever the hell she wants to do.
Well, anything else on jury duty, or can we get a few more sports thoughts in before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I mean, we should talk about something I actually like doing. Like the Brewers are cool. Like they hit another. They've
before we get into that, before we go from basketball to baseball, Derek asked, "Are you going to talk about Giannis making the Olympics?" I don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like Giannis, the way that he reacted to getting Greece in, because this is Greece's first time sending a basketball team into the Olympics. Giannis was like pumped. Like it was really kind of touching to see the way he reacted and how much it really meant to him. Giannis, I will say
for him.
What?
I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him that he's been brainwashed and convinced to think that the Olympics mean anything as far as patriotism and love for country goes. It means nothing, and he shouldn't even be playing there.
Do you think?
Did you see him go down? Did you see him go down and grab at his knee? That was the Bucks' whole season flashing before my eyes right there.
Yeah. Did you? Do you think Giannis would serve on a jury in Greece?
Probably. Yeah. He loves Greece a lot. Yeah.
I fucking.
By the way, I'm not just saying this because it's not America. No pro basketball player, unless it's an opportunity for you to increase your profile. No pro basketball player should be wasting their time at the Olympics. And quite frankly, most of these guys, it doesn't do anything for their profile. And especially when you're talking about going and playing for, no offense, but playing for, you just said they haven't never made the Olympics. Giannis is playing for the right to do what? To go to France and probably lose.
I don't believe in that Team USA all that much. Like they're
gonna win the gold.
They'll win probably, but they're an old team. Like they could get beat by like another younger team or something like that. Like
I hate the Olympics.
You know what? Like it's fine. I've been watching the Giannis games, like the Greece games, because they're on in the mornings. But just like making sure that like I'm watching his legs. Like I'm like, is he gonna? Yeah,
exactly.
Because I was like, I get it. Like I was like, you know what? Just don't get hurt. And given like what was the game the other day that like where he went like 10 for 10 from the floor or like 9
that was where he hurt his knee. Yeah, he was 11 for 11 with 32 points.
Dude, I mean, he looked like he was playing against AAU kids. Like it was so funny watching him just bulldoze everybody. It was like playing NBA 2K.
What? It's cool and all. It's cool, and watching Giannis play is fun. But if he didn't get up when he grabbed at his knee there, it would not be fun. I'll tell you that right now. It wouldn't be fun if he didn't get up after that.
Nope, because all I see if he gets hurt, I see my investment in buying a couple Damian Lillard jerseys going, well, now I better figure out what team he's going to go play for next. It'll destroy our franchise if he gets hurt.
The fuck are we doing here? What are we doing?
Whatever. It's like these guys are going to do it. The same thing, Luka. Like people were coping about Luka being like, he's got he's played basketball for 11 months straight now. It's like, I don't give a fuck.
No, that matters. That matters. That shit catches up to guys, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. Like I said, if he doesn't get hurt, I just hope everybody has fun. If he doesn't get hurt, I'm going to watch him. I'm going to root for Giannis. Like, I'm not going to not root for him.
No, I want them to lose. I actively want Greece to lose and get eliminated. I wish they'd – and I love Giannis. I do. I love Giannis. I support Giannis and everything he does. I don't say this to be spiteful or angry or mad at him. I just want him not playing an international play. That's all. I don't want him playing an international play. And for that reason, I want them to lose and for him to finish with a great stat line and healthy legs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the best case scenario is Grease blows out a team, over and over again. It's just like they did the other day, and he only played 21 minutes. Like that, like I think that was yesterday or something. I'd be good with that. I have, just don't play. Just,
No minutes.
Get a lead.
No minutes. And I know these guys go and play in the offseason. And actually, that's part of the reason Dame said he wasn't in the greatest of shape last year, because he couldn't go and play in the offseason because he didn't want to get injured and fuck up the chances of a trade. So I know these guys play to stay warm and everything else, but there's a different level and a different intensity to the competition when you start talking about the Olympics and international play. And I just don't want Giannis playing at that level in the offseason. And I want him off his feet and off his legs for a good amount of time to recover for next season.
Well, I mean, you saw that he was at Disney World with like Brooke Lopez, and they were riding like Magic Mountain or something like that. Like, yeah. He's been off his feet. I guess get back at it. I can't, dude. No one in the NBA can stop him. Do you think our podcast could? Because I don't.
No.
Let him do. As long as he doesn't get everybody has fun, I'm good with that.
I know he listens. Giannis, hit that thumbs up, buddy. Like, follow, rate, review, and tell a friend. Tell Thanasis. Maybe we could get on. Maybe we could do each other's podcasts. Us and Thanasis. But the Brewers, you wanted to say something about the Brewers?
Well, I was going to say before, because like when your computer cut out and everything and like I couldn't hear you, when we were talking about nepotism and like Bronny, I was like, yeah, you know what? He is the 55th pick in the draft. He did take a spot away from me potentially getting signed with the Lakers with the way he got this past week at the gym. Oh my God. I went 6 for 7 from like
damn
game.
Nice.
Dude, I actually started taunting. I started hitting them with the woo 3. I was doing it, making fucking like I was.
I bet it was a sight to see, and yeah, Bronny might have taken a spot from you, but not from many people.
I'll turn the ball over just as much.
I have no problem with it. Honestly, and I know this isn't the popular opinion, I have no problem with the Bronny situation. If you want to bring it back around to that, I have zero problem with the Bronny situation. More power to him. I don't care. It'd be amazing.
I don't have a problem with Bronny at all. I think that this situation is super unfair to him. Like, but like he's gonna be scrutinized like fucking crazy. Oh, before we do the Brewers, because I did bring up lady basketball. Who's your rookie of the year, Ramie?
I don't know.
Is it Angel Reese or is it Caitlin Clark?
Is this a controversy?
Yes.
I don't know. I have no opinion. I have no clue what either one has really done.
So Angel Reese has set the rookie record for most consecutive double-doubles, but they're all like 10 or 12 points and like 10 rebound. But Caitlin Clark today was the first rookie to ever record a triple-double, and it was an actual pretty impressive stat line.
I saw something about that.
Yeah. No,
is the season almost over that we're talking about rookie of the years or no?
I think it is a shorter season. I don't know exactly how long it goes, but they're starting to get into it in the middle. Like the whole thing, like the whole year, it was going to be Caitlin Clark against Angel Reese, and I said, I still see people who don't watch any of this shit, and they got opinions on it, and they hate Caitlin Clark, or the other people hate Angel Reese, and I mean, if you're actually watching both teams, it's very clear who the better player is and who's making the bigger impact on their team. But the Chicago Sky are a better team.
So you're saying that it's clearly Caitlin Clark, but
she's clearly the better player all around.
Okay.
And as a guard, what she's doing, yeah, like when she was so close to a triple double like a couple days ago. And I think she missed with like 1 rebound. I think she had like 9 rebounds or something like that. But then she was going to be the first rookie in the WNBA to record a triple double, and then she did it like 2 days later.
I honestly don't know enough about it to disagree or agree with you or have a real thought on this.
All right, I've been watching it because I think that if you're going to have an opinion on it, you should at least be watching some of it.
And I think that if you're not watching any of it, you shouldn't have a real opinion on it.
Yeah, well, I'm watching enough of it.
So I think we both did what we should do here. I think we both were very, very responsible in our takes on this.
Well, I don't think any of the people that are chiming in on it, especially like the people that we know or that I know, are watching this shit. Like, no. I don't think they're sitting down and watching it because, like, they're people that I didn't see say a thing about the Bucks all year, but now all of a sudden they're like these hoop heads who know everything about lady basketball. Like, shut the fuck up.
And I know there are the who's that guy? Oh, he's on Fox Sports. What is his name? It's like a super right wing guy. And what's his name? I don't know his name, but of course he. Say that again.
Whitlock? No, because Jason Whitlock got like
him too. Yeah, he's on that bandwagon too. Like it's been hijacked by those people too, who are going to jump on any story and make it like racial or political or whatever. And they don't watch or give a shit about the game at all. They just see an angle that they can jump on and make something that's like the shiny object for their show and get some clicks.
Well, yeah, it's controversy clicks. It absolutely. Yeah. But also, I'm gonna say that I'm like, because of the controversy clicks, I've tuned in on it, and I have an opinion on it. And I think that a lot of the things that have been said, particularly about Caitlin Clark, are inaccurate, particularly by people like Cheryl Swoops, who has lied about how many years Caitlin Clark played in college. She said she played for 5 years and she only played for 4. So she tried to like delegitimize her scoring title. She started saying that like Caitlin Clark's game wasn't going to translate to the WNBA because it's like fine to play like that against 18-year-olds, but when you got to play against grown-ass women. And now Caitlin Clark is out there actually doing shit that no woman in that league has ever done as a rookie. And it's just like they're constantly eating their words, but it's like they're finding new things to hate about her. And they sit there and they talk about like, it's like, oh, she's a rookie. This is how we talk about every rookie. Well, Exhibit A, Victor Wembanyama. How many people came into the year that were NBA fans that went, fuck Victor Wembanyama? Nobody? And then he started, uh-oh. Oh, now that seems bad. Nobody said fuck Victor Wembanyama. And to the point where like he was a spectacle to go see. I don't know if Ramie's coming back. This seems like a problem. I don't want to do jury duty, guys. That's what I got. See, this is what happens when Ramie goes on vacation to like Ohio or something. Like his internet was cold for like a week and a half. He said it was 6 days. I think it was more like 11 days. It's really a problem because. And he knew I wanted to talk about the Brewers, and I think that's why he literally just dropped off this show. Because the Cubs are in last still. Like, whatever you want to say about the Cubs, they're a bad team. Craig Counsell's a bad manager and a worse human being, honestly. Now we're going to get into the political side of this. Craig Counsell, he agrees with a lot of bad things that happen around the world, I think. I shouldn't say that. Craig Counsell's voting for whoever you hate, just so everybody knows. Take that for what it is. All right, Ramie said I got to actually wrap it up now because he doesn't know how his internet actually crashed. Now, the Brewers won again today. Dallas Keuchel, that was awesome. Just like Ramie said, the Brewers pitching factory continues to find scrap heap dudes and turn them into something. Keuchel's gotten better each time he's had to actually like go out there and play. And the most encouraging thing was he kept the ball down for the most part against the Rockies. I think we lost that game though, but like is when he hangs the ball, he gets hammered really hard. But he got a lot of ground balls today and pitching with a decent lead, like 4 runs. that was a nice little pickup that we basically played for nothing. I don't know. Ramie's texting me a bunch of stuff here. So I'll just wrap it up. The Brewers offense, great. Christian Yelich, back-to-back days with a home run. And I don't know, maybe start commenting if anybody thinks that he should start getting some MVP consideration again, even though he's probably not going to have the home runs for it. Because usually a guy who's going to win MVP has to hit like 30-plus home runs. But Yelich he's just behind, I think, in like legal at-bats to be able to qualify for the batting title. I had a friend bring it up the other day. It was on the 4th of July. He said that like Yelich has by far the highest batting average in the league, but doesn't qualify for the batting title yet. So that's just fun stuff to monitor. I guess I got to wrap it up. I'm going to watch House of the Dragon now. So I don't know. I'm kind of on like Damon's side. That seems like the best way to go. All right. I guess this has been Ramie and Drew. Oh, Ramie's back.
Oh, I'm back.
I was going to tell people I'm going to go watch House of the Dragon. I just talked about Dallas Keuchel.
No, I saw and heard all of that.
Was it bad?
No, it was good. That was what they call vamping or filling. And
yeah.
you did a good job for somebody who's never had to do it before.
I just wanted to go through all the things that are going on with the Brewers right now. Oh, Blake Perkins, now that you're back, we can talk about that. I almost threw a 30-pound weight at the gym today because I was so fucking pissed when he got picked off, like, leaning on second base. Like, I was so mad that I was like, God damn it. Like, I cocked back with, like, a weight in my hand. And then, like, an inning later, he hits, like, a 2-run homer. I'm like, all right, a solo homer. I'm like, you've redeemed yourself. And then he gets that 2-out little squeaker that he shot right through the broken bat single through the hole. And it's like, oh, look at that. Blake Perkins completely redeemed himself. So that was nice beating the Dodgers. We got another grand slam on Friday night. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you realize, and they said this on Valley Sports tonight. I don't know if it was Vinny Rotino or who was doing play-by-play. With the bases loaded, they only have singles and home runs. They don't have any other kind of hit. They have no walks. They only have singles and home runs with the bases loaded this year.
We don't have, we have to have some walks because we've definitely had runs get walked in this year.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. I think that they just meant of official at bats. So
yeah,
there have been strikeouts and there have been outs and there have been walks, but as far as balls in play, it's only been singles and home runs.
I was gonna say, yeah, we've literally won, I think, 2 games with the bases juiced.
You're right.
What was funny though, Tuesday night I was at the usual bar, just watching the Brewer game, just having a nice time, having a nice little night, having some Guinnesses. And when the bases got loaded and Bryce Terang came up, I pulled out my phone and one of the guys sitting next to me was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "If he sends this into the seats, I'm buying a jersey." Like, you get 3 grand slams in a year.
But he didn't.
I don't know. So have they mentioned the stat where the Brewers have had 2 players hit 2 grand slams in a season?
No.
Because Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Terang have both hit grand slams, and it's all been in this whatever it is 16-day window.
it's been kind of like a magical type of season. I was talking to Andrew Wagner yesterday or on Friday, who covers the Brewers for Forbes, and he and I both, and not to be like pessimistic or be the party poopers of the whole thing, but we both think that there is like some regression that almost has to happen with the Brewers. There's 15 games over 500 at this point, which if over the course of a season they're on pace to win, I think, almost 100 games. I don't think they're winning 100 games. So I do think that there has to be some kind of coming back down to earth just by the law of averages. That doesn't mean that they're not a good team and they're not going to finish atop the division and with a very good record and everything else. But there is something kind of magical about this. Like, you almost can't even explain some of the stuff that's going on, like the grand slams.
Let me argue against that again, though, because like I said, you got guys who just when they strike out, they're working deep at bats. These aren't like 3-pitch at bats where they're waving at shit all out of the zone. A lot of the guys, including guys like Willy Adames, Like they shorten up when they get 2 strikes on them. Like
and I'm not saying that there is not anything to that, and that doesn't make them slump resistant, to put it in a way. But what I am saying is baseball is a weird sport, and whether it's they cool off with runners in scoring position, or it's all the bullpen usage catches up to them, or the starting pitching completely falls apart. Like something could happen anywhere along the way in a 162 game season that cools you off for 30 or 40 games.
See, and my thing is what I still think though is with this pitch clock, these pitchers, they got to keep, you get the ball in your glove and you basically got to start your windup again. I think a lot of what's going on is if you're working these deep counts, you're making the pitchers labor way more. Like they don't get to just like step off the mound, walk around it for a couple rotations, and then come back on there, step off, get back on, fix their hat, redo their belt. They don't get to do that anymore. So it's like if you're going to sit there and keep just whacking away at just shit that's close to the zone, more times than not, I think you're going to be able to like just like dink and dunk guys. Like, because the Brewers aren't, we're middle of the pack in home runs. Like, we're not relying on power. We're relying on speed and getting on base, but a lot of the guys on our team have really good on-base percentages up and down the lineup, including like
and I'm not saying that that's not true or that will necessarily change dramatically, but like I just said, any aspect of the game where they're performing very well right now, any aspect could go wrong or just come back down to replacement level. And that will cool a team off. And I think over 162 games, it happens to every team. Dude, look at the Yankees. Look at the Yankees right now. And people think they're falling apart. I don't think they're falling apart. I think they're just going through a tough stretch. It's a long season, and every team is going to have tough stretches. And those tough stretches are what end up bringing your record and a lot of your numbers back down, not necessarily even back down to what people expected at the start of the season, because I think they're better than that, and I think they'll finish better than what most people expected. But it'll bring it back down closer to that than what it looks like they'll finish now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we got picked, like when they upped, like Las Vegas odds upped us to like 84 wins from like 77 or something like that. And I still said that was low. I said 87 the last time we talked about like the win-loss record. Dude, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, are we going to win like 94 games? Are we going to like dominate the shit out of like this entire, like, because we're third in the National League total? And like the Phillies just got bit with the injury bug. But also the other thing too is on Tuesday, Devin Williams is throwing live batting practice. Like, we're getting Devin Williams back for nothing. We're acquiring an all-star closer for nothing. Like,
no, that's huge.
McGill we have 2 closers again. This goes back to the K-Rod, John Axford days. Like, we have 2 closers. And then we just got Junis back. Like, he pitched today. He pitched a few innings, but that was in middle relief. Like, you got a starter back that just came back in middle relief. Like,
right now the Brewers are
come back.
Right now the Brewers are on pace to win 94 games.
Okay, cool.
Almost exactly. And I'm not saying that can't happen. I think they come back down to the mean a little bit and probably finish with 88, 90 wins.
Cool.
Which is still going to be good enough to win the division and still makes them a very good baseball team and still gives them a chance at winning the World Series.
But also look at how much money is in that Dodgers lineup that they trotted today. And it's like they have 2 more wins than us.
Yeah.
That's what's insane. Like, they have premier names up and down that lineup and stuff. And it's like, well, look at what we got. We got Bryce Terang hitting 2 grand slams. We got Reese Hoskins.
Pat Murphy is manager of the year. I don't think there's any doubt about that right now.
Yeah. I mean, shit, manager of the year. Like, you could even start putting Matt Arnold in like executive of the year.
An executive of the year. He's in that conversation for sure.
Just if Dallas Keuchel and Savale are decent, that's like that's going to be like executive of the year kind of stuff.
That would be huge.
So, like, I mean, I
don't think it'll be a frontline starter, but there might be a bigger move than either of those two guys on the horizon to bolster the starting rotation. Maybe not, but maybe.
You could, but like just being able to evaluate talent and find guys like that is pretty.
No,
I don't know.
They're great at it. They're amazing at it.
I'm just saying, if they can keep finding guys to plug in there every day, and as long as like Colin Ray and Freddie Peralta just remain pretty much fixtures of that rotation, anybody that comes back off an injury and is serviceable for a couple innings, I don't know, man. We're sitting pretty good right now.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a fun season, and they are going to the postseason. They are winning the NL Central. I don't think there's much question about that in my mind at this point. And yeah, man, it's a really good baseball team.
Yeah, what is it, Brian Wilson though? Brian Hudson. He's been struggling pretty bad, and Hobie Milner a little bit too.
Yeah. The bullpen had to cool off a little bit. Like I said, there are things about them that has to cool off a little bit. That doesn't make them a bad team. I'm not saying that they're not as good as what they've looked to this point. That's what happens over the course of a long season, even to good teams and even to good offenses and good bullpens and good starting rotations. They have times of the season where they come down to earth a little bit.
Did you watch any of the game today?
Yes.
Because yeah, even like the way that like Peguero handled himself at the end of the game, was he was pinpoint on those dudes. Like, that's really encouraging because when you get Devin Williams back, everybody slides down a spot.
And dude, McGill in the 8th as a setup man for Williams in the 9th, like it's going to be a really good bullpen. Which at the end of the season, if they are in any kind of race at the end of the season, at this point it's not looking like they will be, but especially in the postseason, when you can get 5 or 6 out of your starter and maybe 1 or 2 arms in middle relief, not have to go deep into your bullpen, and then if you have a lead, hand it off to do 2 guys that 95% of the time you win when you hand the ball to those 2 guys. That's a huge weapon to have in the postseason.
Yeah, Peguero, Piamps, Milner, Koenig, like you'll look at all of them, you're like, shit, like that's actually kind of a tough for really anybody. But also, like you said about the Yankees too, they rely on home runs. Like that Yankees team is all home runs.
Yeah, so I don't think there's anything wrong with relying on home runs.
No, there's not. But that's how they're built, and that's like home run hitters go through slumps more than guys who bat for average.
Yeah, but if you look at it, home runs account for more of the runs in the postseason than they do even in the regular season. So you need home runs.
Fucking change that this year.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Anything else, Drew? Any final thoughts on this episode of Ramie and Drew, episode 61?
No, I got to watch House of the Dragon because that's the only thing that's going to make me happy before I got to go do jury duty.
All right. Well, enjoy House of the Dragon. Try to enjoy jury duty, and I will talk to you next time. Until then, this has been episode 61 of Ramie and Drew. Follow, like, rate, review, tell a friend about us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple, and we will talk to you next time.